Darrell Jazz Johnson here, MSG Varsity, Fathers and Sons Magazine, RazandJazzSports.com, here with ESPN New York's Larry Hardesty. Larry, how are you doing?
I'm doing great.
Great. If you can put a wrap on the Jet season for us, how that transpired. It was a disaster, and they just hired their new GM, and I believe you had a press conference on Thursday that you were at. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Okay, I'll be brief because I know this is not a 5-hour show, which would take me to wrap up everything that went wrong with the Jets last year. But it was a tough year for them. They had injuries, key personnel. When you lose a Darrelle Revis, who's the top cornerback in the NFL, you lose a Santonio Holmes, who was the best receiver on your team. That's a major blow. In addition to that, they had other minor injuries. Dustin Keller, who's been their leading receiver the past 2 years, played 6 games. So Mark Sanchez, who had arguably his worst year in the NFL, that was part of the reason. He did not have a lot of weapons to work with. The offensive line was inconsistent. The running game didn't get going really till late in the season. So that was some of the problems. Defensively, they had trouble stopping the run. And even though they finished statistically as a top 10 defense, realistically they were a top 20 defense because they gave up leads, and it was just a down year for them. They have a lot of free agents coming up. Dustin Keller's a free agent. Sean Green's a free agent. The two safeties are free agents, Amar'e and LaRon Landry. They have a number of free agents. Excuse me. Brandon Moore's a free agent. I'm sorry. They have a number of free agents. Matt Slauson along the offensive line. So things are going to change. They're bringing a new GM. Was the problem to all of Mike Tannenbaum's fault? No, obviously not. But he did make mistakes. And look, the draft is, as you well know, the draft is a crapshoot. You roll the dice. Some guys are good, some guys are bad. But his problem was he signed guys to long-term contracts that hurt the salary cap. I.e., Mark Sanchez is due $8.25 million guaranteed next season. You should be shaking your head. And the Santonio Holmes contract is a bad contract. So the Jets they would have to cut. Right now they're about $30 million over the cap. If they cut a couple of players, Calvin Pace, Bart Scott, and Jason Smith, who was brought in as a offensive lineman, they would ironically be $19 million under the cap. So what that says is they've got about 5 or 6 players that are making most of the money on that team. That's their problem. John Idzik is the new general manager. He worked in Tampa Bay. He worked in Seattle. That was his last job. He is a cap guy. He does have some personnel knowledge, but he's predominantly a cap guy. So hopefully he can get this cap to manageable where they can make some plays and get some players.
Real quick, there's been a lot of talk of speculation that Woody Johnson wants to trade potentially Darrelle Revis. What do you think about that?
I think you have to examine everything. When you're a new GM, you have no obligation to anybody, no loyalties. You can come in and look at everybody and what it's going to take. For them to trade Darrelle Revis, they have to get a number 1 pick, top 5 or 10 pick. He's the best in the game at what he does. I know he's coming off a knee injury. I still think he'll be the best in the game at what he does even after the knee injury. Doesn't mean you're definitely going to trade him? No, but you have to research because the Jets have so many needs. You need draft choices to help fill those needs. It's not just free agents. You need draft choices as well. So should they trade him? I would say no. You have to get the great deal to move him. If you're not going to get the great deal, he'll be here next year.
So we're here at Barclays Center. First, your thoughts on the Brooklyn Nets moving to the move to Brooklyn?
Listen, I think it was great for them. They weren't drawing in New Jersey. The Izod Center didn't work for them. It was a little better at the Prudential Center in Newark, but this is their home, and it's a fabulous new building. I love the Herringbone Court, and they've got talent here. And they're going to do well in the postseason, and they could go far in the postseason. So I think the move here was good. Nice little rivalry with the Knicks and Nets. They've played 4 times already. They've split the 4 games. So nothing would be better to see them in the Eastern Conference Finals. That would be great.
Absolutely. And what are your thoughts for the team across the town, the New York Knicks?
Well, the Knicks, they're going to go as far as Mike Woodson's able to manage the older guys on that roster. If he can, after the All-Star break, manage Jason Kidd, if Rasheed Wallace comes back, manage him, manage Marcus Camby, then they'll be okay because the depth will be great. I'm very surprised at the way Amar'e Stoudemire has been playing over the past week. He looks. I haven't seen him play this well since Game 1 in Boston when he hurt his back, and he went through a couple of years of injury. So he's playing well. And in isolated situations, you're seeing Carmelo play with him, pass the ball to him. They're playing off each other, which is good. Mike Woods is a good coach. He'll find a way to pull Tyson Chandler out of that painted area because right now it's jammed up. You've got, because Tyson likes the ball down low, Carmelo's on the paint, and you've got, Amar'e on the painted area too on the block. So once you pull one of those guys out and open it up a little bit, that will help them out. So I think they'll do good. I think it's going to be an exciting summer of basketball here, finally.
Thanks a lot, Larry.
My pleasure. Good to be with you.